In today's class we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is polygenic inheritance, also known as quantitative inheritance. Now see, Mendel, whatever characters he chose to experiment with, all of those characters had very distinct alternative traits, isn't it? Like if he chose the character of flower color, the flowers would be either purple or white. In case of height, a plant would be either tall or dwarf, right? So they were very, very contrasting to one another. But in our nature, do you only see traits which are very contrasting in nature? Rather, our nature is full of such kind of characters where the traits produced or phenotypes produced, they are spread over a gradient, isn't it? There are like, for example, say the most common example we can take into consideration here is say human height, okay, or say human color. Do you only see white or dark people, or fair or dark people, or likewise do you only see tall or dwarf people all around you? No. You see so many different types of colors, so many different variations of height in the human population, isn't it? So those kind of traits which shows a lot of variation or which are spread over a gradient, they are usually found to be under the control of two or more genes, all right? And hence we call them polygenic traits, okay? Polygenic traits. Traits which are controlled by polygenes. Poly means multiple genes, more than one gene, all right? Those traits which are, or those characters which are under the control of multiple genes, we call them polygenes or polygenic inheritance, okay? Inheritance of such characters would be termed as polygenic inheritance, all right? Now the question arises, why do we have to call them quantitative inheritance as well? That's because in polygenic inheritance, the more the number of dominant alleles, the more expressive will be the phenotype. More expression will be gained by the phenotype. Okay, number of dominant alleles here will have a cumulative effect on the phenotype produced. Okay, the more the number of dominant alleles, the more expression will be gained by the phenotype. The less the number of dominant alleles, the lesser will be the expression of the phenotype. As we go into further details, you will understand what I am trying to say here. All right. So let's see what's the definition. So Mendel's studies mainly focused on distinct alternative traits like flower color, which are either purple or white. But nature is full of traits which are not so distinct and are spread across the gradient. For example, human height. Such traits are generally controlled by two or more genes and are thus called polygenic traits, and the inheritance of such trait is known as polygenic or quantitative inheritance. Here, dominant alleles have cumulative effect, with each dominant allele expressing a part of the polypeptide, and full trait is shown when all the dominant alleles are present. Now see, genes mainly are responsible for the formation of protein. Genes control our characters by the production of proteins. Now, more the number of dominant alleles will be present, more will be the protein produced, you can say, and hence more enhanced will be the trait that will result. And less the number of dominant alleles, less amount of protein produced, hence less the expression of the phenotype. Alright, understood this? Fine. So that's why, because here the number of dominant alleles shows a summation or cumulative effect, we call it quantitative inheritance as well. Alright. Now, here are some important, discoveries in the field of polygenic inheritance, like H. Nielsen LA in 1908 and East in 1910 demonstrated segregation and assortment of genes controlling quantitative traits like kernel color of wheat and corolla length in tobacco. Do remember, these two are examples of polygenic inheritance, alright, and they were studied by Nelson, LA and East. Nelson, LA studied kernel color of wheat and East studied corolla length in tobacco. Alright. Now, let us take into consideration the first example here, that is kernel color in wheat. So what H. Nelson, LA did is that he crossed red kernel, extremely red variety of wheat with white colored wheat. Alright. Extreme red with white. Alright. And then what he got as a result is as such. See, parental generation. Here, when he studied this example, when he studied the kernel color of wheat, he found out that this is a polygenic inheritance. Kernel color of wheat is a polygenic inheritance because it is under the control of not one, rather two genes. Say the genes are A and B. Alright. So extreme red will be, because it's a polygenic inheritance, so extreme red color will be produced when all the dominant alleles are present. So here capital A, capital A, capital B, capital B crossed with white. Red color is not produced at all. The color is white, means none of the dominant alleles are present. Understood? So when these two were crossed, F1 generation of course will be capital A, small a, capital B, small b. Right? And that's why, see, half of the dominant alleles are missing here. Out of 4, only 2 are present. So that's why the color of the red color produced will be intermediate. Medium. It will neither be like this nor be like this. Alright. Now comes the interesting fact. When F2 generation was obtained by selfing of F1 generation, this is the interesting result that was obtained. See here. Capital A, capital A, capital B, that is the extreme red variety would be produced. Likewise, capital A, small a, capital B, small b, dark red. Now, the redness has reduced a little bit. Why? Because one of the dominant allele is missing, isn't it? Further, see here, 2 of the dominant alleles are missing. So, in that case, color is further reduced. The red color is further reduced and it becomes intermediate red. Now that 3 of the dominant alleles are missing, this time light red is produced, alright, with a very light hint of red. And finally, when all of the dominant alleles are gone, the color produced is white. And this happened in the ratio of 1:4:6:4:1. Do remember this. 1:4:6:4:1 is the phenotypic ratio of the progeny produced in the cross of kernel color of wheat. Alright, is that clear? Fine. So do remember, that means what is happening here is that the number of dominant alleles have a direct relation with the amount of redness produced. The more the number of dominant alleles, the more the red the wheat kernel has been produced, and when all of the red dominant alleles are missing, the red color is not produced at all, rather white is produced. This is the reason why in polygenic inheritance we call it to be quantitative inheritance as well, because the number of dominant alleles here shows a cumulative or summative effect on the phenotype produced. Alright, understood? Now, the next example that we are going to take is another very important one, that is human skin color. Human skin color has been studied by Davenport and it was found to be under the control of 3 genes. 3 pairs of genes, alright, and we know very well now that human skin color is actually being produced, or it depends on the pigment melanin produced in the body, alright. The more the amount of melanin produced, the more will be the dark color. The less the amount of melanin, the lesser will be the color produced, alright, and the dark color here is dominant over light color. Yeah, you heard me correct. That's what actually is going to be favored in nature. Dark color people are going to be dominant over white color or fair color like people, because dark color will save a particular human being from various types of harmful radiation. Alright, so that's why dark color is always dominant over white color. But we have changed it otherwise, that's a different parameter altogether. But from scientific point of view, dark color are going to be dominant over white. Alright, so let's see what happens here. Here, the parental generation taken is extreme black color person, that's called a Negro, with all the dominant alleles have been crossed with a extreme light colored human called albino, where none of the dominant alleles are present. Alright. F1 hybrids will be, of course, capital A small a, capital B small b and capital C small c. That means intermediate color will be produced, and such human are called mulatto. Alright. Now, in F2 generation, when this tri-hybrid cross was done, of course, there will be 64 different types of zygotic combinations that can be observed. Alright. And hence, the phenotypic ratio that will be produced here will be 1:6:15:20:15:6:1. So where 1 is very dark or extreme dark, 6 would be dark, then 15 would be fairly dark, 20 would be intermediate dark, another 15 will be for fairly light, then 6 for light, and 1 is for extreme light, that is albino. Alright, so this is the phenotypic ratio here. I hope all of you have understood what is polygenic inheritance by now. Now, do remember that whenever you try to plot a graph for the phenotypes that would be observed in case of polygenic inheritance, you will always get a bell-shaped curve. Because, see, be it in this example or this example, what are you seeing? The maximum number of phenotypes will be seen in intermediate individual, isn't it? And rest will keep on reducing, where the extremes will be the least, isn't it? So that's why the extremes will be the least and intermediate being the highest. That's why the bell-shaped curve will be obtained always for polygenic inheritance. Fine. Next, other important examples for polygenic inheritance would be cob length of maize, human IQ, milk and meat production in animals, number of seed and fruits in plants. All of these are important examples of polygenic inheritance. For the last thing that you should remember is our two formulas. Here, directly by using these formulas, you can find out the number of phenotypes or genotypes that can be obtained in polygenic inheritance. Here, number of phenotypes for polygenes would be 2n plus 1. Number of genotypes for polygenes would be 3 to the power n, where n is the pair of polygenes. Alright, so that's all for this part, that is polygenic inheritance part. In the next part, we'll be starting with chromosomal basis of sex determination. Thank you.